The Ravens and Lamar plan to run the football less in 2023. And what's that mean for these guys right here? What's it mean for Lamar? Does Lamar take a dip in fantasy value if the plan of attack is to run a significantly less amount of times from the quarterback position? Will Lamar's passing numbers increase enough to offset the loss of the lack of rushing? Or maybe they run the ball the same and they just say, yeah, we're not running the ball as much. And then they get out there on the field and they got to run the football. We're going to break down the impact of all of this and more. Take your phone calls, dig into a whole lot more topics other than the Baltimore Ravens. But the Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So, Lamar and the Ravens plan to run the ball a significantly less amount of times from under center here. Asked today when the Ravens' new offense will allow Lamar to showcase his running ability, he said less running, more throwing. Less running, more throwing. And there were other reports that talked about this as well. Lamar said absolutely he believes rushing attempts will be scaled back in Todd Monken's offense. And Monken is definitely there to make some changes. So while we've been told things in the past, or the Ravens have said, oh, we're going to run the ball less, or hey, we're going to make Lamar stay in the pocket, that almost always doesn't work out for Lamar Jackson. If you recall back over the last 3 years, whenever they've tried to change anything significantly and control Lamar hasn't done well. Lamar has either had a very slow start, then they adjust and adapt and get back to letting Lamar be Lamar. Lamar's either got injured. This hasn't gone well for the Ravens for 3 straight years, pretty much making Lamar Jackson a bust candidate for 3 straight seasons. But I believe Monken is there to make positive changes, and I think Monken's there, and we're already seeing it, right? Flowers is added. You got Odell as well, who I didn't put on here, but you could definitely talk about Odell as well. Odell, Flowers, Dobbins, Andrews, and Lamar. Do they all see positive impacts due to Monken's potential style of offense that is going to try and throw the football more than it has in the past? This whole leaning on the running game that's been often injured, constantly injured, hasn't worked out, because guess what? Whenever this team said, we're going to go run heavy, attention. And this was last year. I'm not trying to say Dobbins doesn't have a good value this year, because I'm going to get to that in a minute. I actually like J.K. Dobbins a whole lot more this year than I did last year, or really, I liked him as a rookie coming in, but I haven't liked J.K. Dobbins for a while. And it's sad because I loved him as a rookie. I'm starting to get on board the J.K. Dobbins late in your draft train. Okay, we're talking like 5th round type material. But in the previous years, we've heard things like this. This is attention. We have an announcement to make. The Baltimore Ravens, we are the Baltimore Ravens. We will be running the football more than ever and not allowing Lamar Jackson to run the football like he's been. We're going to put it on the RBs, the all ACL teams coming out in a tear in 2022. We've got J.K. Dobbins with a torn ACL. We've got Gus the Bus with a torn ACL. We've got literally an entire running back room full of ACL recovered players coming out strong in 2022, and we're not going to let Lamar Jackson touch even a little bit of the running increase. That was like when you talked to Dad when you were a younger kid and you said, Dad, I'll take the hamster. I promise I'll change the cage every day. I'll clean his poop. Dad, I'll feed him. Dad, just let me get a hamster, please. You won't have to do a thing. When the Ravens in previous years, I'm not talking about this year, all of you Ravens believers and truthers, I like what the Ravens are doing right now. We're talking in the past. It's been, hey, Dad, I'll take care of the hamster. Can I please get a hamster? Hey, let's run the football more. Don't worry, Lamar. We'll have all of the RBs take care of it. None of the RBs could do it. None of the RBs were healthy last year, so Lamar Jackson had to take care of the hamster. Lamar Jackson didn't want a hamster. Lamar Jackson knew that his children wouldn't be able to pull their weight and take care of the hamster. This guy is now a hamster caretaker and has been for the last couple years. So guess what happened when nobody could take care of the hamster? This guy was asked to take over the running back load, and they said, yeah, we planned for JK to be ready. That didn't happen. Gus the Bus, we kind of miscalculated this, Lamar, but we're a run-heavy offense, so can you go ahead and take care of all the rushing? And we're sorry. We're sorry. Now you have to clean the cage. Now you have to do all this. Now you got to worry about the hamster. This guy right here may not have to worry about that any longer, because guess what? Monken says, let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. Let's throw the football more. We're going to bring in talent to do so. Unlike the regime of the past, unlike the past offensive coordinator who didn't want to touch the receiving room, yet wanted Lamar to have success. Ridiculous. Lamar Jackson has been asked to pass more without the proper weaponry. Well, guess what? Lamar finally has it. Lamar finally has Zay Flowers catching footballs, speedy guy, Antonio Brown potential. I'm telling you, this kid is exciting. I'm excited. You should be excited. Your grandma, your mom, everyone should be excited about what Zay Flowers is bringing to the table in 2023. And there's a reason he's been on the Moon Man list for a long time. This wasn't somebody we put on the Moon Man list after he landed in Baltimore. No. This isn't a man we threw on the Moon Man list right before the NFL draft when people started coming around and saying, hey, he's kind of good. We're hearing good things. No, my friend. We've had him on the Moon Man list for a long time, well before the NFL draft, well before anything started kicking into gear in terms of his increasing value. This man is a Moon Man for a reason.
The Moon Man, dropping loads in outer space.
And this increased passing attack means great things for our Moon Man.
Space Monsters.
The only rookie wide receiver on this Moon Man list. Now, there are some tempered expectations that need to be tossed out to the ether, okay? You can't expect this guy to be a fantasy football wide receiver 1 in his year 1. But an increased passing attack gives me a whole lot of hope for the people that have been very negative on this situation, saying he's not going to get to volume, Smitty. His situation isn't the best out of all the rookie wide receivers. Well, I disagree with you, and I have disagreed with you. It's not the most ideal out of all the landing spots, and I've said that on record over and over and over. Are there better places for him to have landed? Yeah, but now it's starting to take shape a little bit more in the direction of maybe this starts to take a direction that we kind of wanted it to go in terms of another team getting a hold of this kid, whether it's Buffalo or whatever. We love Kincaid in Buffalo. We don't want no more. Kincaid's the man. We don't want to undo that situation. I'm just saying at the time of the NFL draft, we said to ourselves, Buffalo would be nice. There are a couple locations that would be nice. Maybe the Chargers would be an interesting landing spot because I do love that landing spot. I'm not sure I love Quentin Johnston as much as everybody else. I like him. I'm open-minded. I'm not saying he's a bust, but I'm open-minded. I'm gonna wait and see mode with Quentin Johnston because he is third on the pecking order, and we just have to see what's gonna happen. Like, I just can't get behind Quentin Johnston being a monster his rookie year when he's got so much climbing to do, and he's also the most raw wide receiver skill set wise out of the 4 rookie wide receivers. So there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of negatives at play. That's not to say that Quentin Johnston can't evolve. It's not to say somebody's going to be able to come back in here and go, he's good, Smitty, you were wrong. I'm not saying he can't be good. I'm just saying pump the brakes on it happening immediately. And his situation possibly could be the best long-term situation, which is why we wanted it for Zay Flowers. Understand what I'm saying. But Zay Flowers did go to, out of all of the top 4 rookie wide receiver landing spots, he did go to the best situation. It just still wasn't the most ideal out of all the ones we could think up. When he landed in Baltimore, I was like, yeah, I'm excited. But it wasn't like, it's Lamar runs a lot, the team runs a lot. This is developing news. This is new information. This is the kind of stuff that gets you excited. This is the kind of stuff that puts a little pep in your step when you're heading to your draft and you might draft a little Zay Flowers action. So I'm excited about this news that the passing attack is going to be ramped up. I believe it because Munkin's there, and I don't think this is the old regime, the old way of doing things, the old guard saying, hey, we're just going to run the ball more, we're going to pass the ball more, we're going to do this more, we're going to do that more, we're going to have a better defense, we're going to have a better offense, they're just making stuff up. There's just dudes in a room making stuff up and coming out and shoveling shit out to us every single day. And that's no longer feeling like it's the case. I believe that this is true. I believe that this will be something that actually comes to fruition. I believe this will be for the first time in 3+ years that the Ravens don't decide to do something and then have to peel it back and say, hey, we're gonna run Lamar less and hold him in the pocket. Well, guess what? Lamar crapped the bed when you tried to contain him and you didn't let him be Lamar. So then you had to revert back, and it took him half a season. This was in 2020, 2021, 2022. The guys had 3 straight years of disappointing. Now Munkin's saying we're going to throw more. That doesn't mean he's trying to put Lamar in a box. He's not trying to let Lamar not be Lamar. Lamar's going to be Lamar. Lamar's certainly going to be Lamar. But Munkin's saying our offense is going to be designed, not forcing Lamar to do things, designed to throw the football. And this guy can't handle continuing to run the football like he's been running. He will not hold up. He will break. This guy is averaging, I believe, the league leading 10.7 carries per game on his career, which is asinine, which is ridiculous, which is going to break him. Here's Lamar Jackson's career rushing attempts, yardage, touchdowns. It's phenomenal. 2,000-yard seasons. I mean, come on. Let's give this man some flowers. Let's give him some Zay Flowers on top of that, but let's give him some flowers in addition. 1,000-yard season, 1,200-yard season. This looks like a wide receiver's numbers. This looks like a breakout wide receiver right here. I'm like, oh, yeah, look at that. 703, 702. And look at him finally getting 1,000 yards with a 7-touchdown increase, 1,206. Lamar Jackson looking like a monster. These look like wide receiver numbers. They're fantastic. They're unbelievable. They're great. He's a marvel. He's a marvel. But he can't keep running the football to the tune of 150+ rushing attempts per season. He just can't do it. He was on pace last year. Last year he ran the ball. What was it? Let me pull it up. Lamar Jackson was on pace for an incredibly asinine number for rushing the football. Lamar Jackson ran the football. How many games did he play last year? He played a whopping 12 games. Lamar Jackson ran the football 112 times. Divided by 12 times 17 is, look, Mom, 160, just about 160 rushing attempts on the year. He was on pace for an astronomical amount of rushing attempts. That's going to break him. This is good news. Let's dial back the run. Let's let Lamar be Lamar. Let's let Munkin do Munkin things, which appears to be solving problems. I believe Munkin's in the solving problem business because guess what? I'm looking at a wide receiver that wasn't here before. I'm looking at a wide receiver I identified as the best wide receiver skill set wise in this entire 2023 draft class. Not saying I don't like JSN. Not saying Quentin Johnson doesn't have upside, especially long-term in his situation. Not saying that I don't like Addison's abilities or what he could do. But this was my number one wide receiver skill set-wise. So when Munkin says, I'm going to make some changes, they pay Lamar. They finally pay Lamar. They make him happy on that front. They've got Zay Flowers. They bring in Odell. They've got wide receivers. Not one, they added 2. I trust Munkin. And I said from the beginning, I'm soured on Lamar. I'm soured on Lamar in Baltimore during the entire offseason when we're like, this guy's got to go somewhere else. This guy's got to go somewhere else. I said, for him to go back to Baltimore and not be a bust, several things need to happen. He needs to get paid, obviously, and be happy to be there. He needs to have wide receivers added to the roster, not subtracted from the roster. If those things happen, if they go and draft a big name top 4, and I said this over and over when we showed the NFL draft board, every time we showed it and talked about the Ravens, I said at this 20 whatever pick it was, 21, 23, whatever it was, if the Ravens take Zay Flowers, is what I specifically said over and over, or one of the top 4, not the number 7 later on or a second round wide receiver, if they show Lamar they're serious about getting him a weapon, not just a player, not just a body to catch footballs and be another disappointing wide receiver draft selection, if they actually play ball and show Lamar they're serious and they take one of the top 4 wide receivers, specifically this guy right here, which has a little Hollywood Brown action to him, slippery, running all over the field, hard to contain, impossible to really control or double. If he's running around in the slot all over the field, he's slippery. This guy runs electric routes. He is unbelievable. He is Antonio Brown meets a combination of different players at that size and frame. This guy could really be something special. And our concern, though, was, okay, great spot, number 1 wide receiver. Lamar's a competent passer. Some would say he's not the best passer in the world, but he's for sure competent. Come on. He's competent for sure. And able to feed one guy outside of the tight end room. Okay, we know Andrews is going to eat, but he's capable of feeding one guy 1,100, 1,200 yards. Let's stop acting like this offense wasn't going to put Flowers in still a very good position, like 1,100 yards, 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. Even as a rookie, he's capable of throwing down that kind of season, with Lamar Jackson being in a offense similar to the past. But when we hear Munkin say we're throwing the ball more, when we hear Lamar confirm it, when we hear that they're dialing back the run and dialing up the pass, and they have things in place to confirm that, like Flowers, Odell, and let's hope a healthy Andrews, I'm excited. I'm excited enough to say that this offense is something you can go near in fantasy football on several levels, on 4, 5, Odell from like a wide receiver 5, 6 on your team, bye-week specialist for you, not a guy you're putting in as your wide receiver 3. Maybe he becomes that, you don't know, but I'm actually really excited about having 4 options now, maybe 5 with Odell, that we're actually excited about in Baltimore. We got Lamar, who knows what this does from his fantasy football stat line perspective. Maybe he increases enough in the passing game to offset any less rushing. And I don't know that you can truly control Lamar. So what's less? 140 rushes instead of 160? I mean, we don't know. I don't think it's going to be something crazy. But the fact that the design of the offense is to throw more means that this man probably won't have a tough time as a rookie catching 800, 900 yards, 6 or 7 touchdowns, with the opportunity to actually do a whole lot more, maybe get 950 to 1,000 yards and 6, 7 touchdowns as a rookie. Wouldn't shock me at all. And this guy right here, let's talk about J.K. Dobbins. I haven't been excited about J.K. Dobbins in quite some time, since his rookie year. Tore his ACL, been very, very injury prone, still very injury prone. Anybody that likes Swift probably likes JK, and anybody that hates Swift probably hates JK. They're very similar in that you don't have a lot to trust in terms of the staying healthy department. So you're basically saying this is all upside. This is all upside if the cost of entry is good enough to say that. Like, can you say that about J.K. Dobbins? I think you can. J.K. Dobbins you can get in the 5th or 6th round. J.K. Dobbins is a player that you can wait and do a sort of hero running back strategy or a late running back strategy with your number 2 running back. And we're going to go over all those different things. A lot of people are asking what is late quarterback or late running back? What is hero versus going late? What is zero running back versus hero? We're going to break all that down. But from a hero perspective, where you are drafting like a big dog up top, and then you're just kind of taking a whole bunch of flyers on running backs for your running back 2, you can actually include guys like J.K. Dobbins and Swift in your approach because They're going in round 5, 6 sometimes, and that is a late enough draft selection to say that's where I start collecting my running back too. And if you start focusing on your one running back and all your wide receivers, your tight end, your quarterback, and then you wait until round 6 to start compiling your running back 2 option and rotation, because it will be a rotation at that point. You get your Swift or your Dobbins or your Pacheco or your Pierce or your Kamara or a handful of other guys that are in round 5, 6, 7, and you start grabbing 1 or 2 of those guys. Madison and J.K. Dobbins. Who here doesn't like Madison and J.K. Dobbins for the running back 2 in a build where you're waiting very, very long to go get to go get your running back 2 bill? Who doesn't like that? In fact, let's look at that on the draft board here and see what you all think of this approach. Let's just keep what we have here. Let's just keep what we have here, and let's say either one of these guys right here. Music's a little loud, isn't it? Let me see if I can lower that. Is that music a lot louder than it was before? Let me see if I can lower this. There we go. I think that's about right. Okay, so let's say we don't go a single running back. Let's say we don't go. Actually, let's say we go one. Let's talk about a hero approach versus a different zero running back approach, because this is more along the lines of a zero running back approach. So let's get Breece Hall or Gibbs. Let's get Gibbs in here. Let's go Gibbs in end of round 3, Burrow in round 4. Let's go Garrett Wilson in 1. Or actually, let's go Bijan. Let's do this approach. Let's say you get a middle of the first round draft selection. Okay? Let's say you take Bijan in the middle of the first round. You take Joe Burrow in the middle of 4. You take Gibbs in the middle of 3 because you got to reach a little bit because people aren't going to allow him to fall to late 4. Try to get him in late 4 if you can. Where's our boy Olave when we need him? Olave, there he is, Olave. This right here. Damn, it looks good. Damn, this looks good. I haven't even filled. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I was trying to do a one running back and leave Gibbs out, but I couldn't. I gravitated toward this like a magnet. This looks amazing. This team looks fire. I'm walking straight to the bank with this team. Look at this squad. Wait, what does this look like right here? This looks awfully familiar. Let's put these guys where they belong. What does this look like right here? This looks awfully familiar. We need a wide receiver though. We need another wide receiver. What about Pickens? Let's go get Pickens real quick.
The moon men dropping loads in outer space.
Okay, I just had to borrow his graphic real quick. Let's put Pickens in here. Look at this. Look at this squad. What does this remind you of right now? It reminds me of what could it be? What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? The Four Horsemen?
The Four Horsemen. Drafting Chase in round 1, Hall in 2, Burrow in 3, London in 4, try Gibbs in 3, Burrow in 4, Wilson in 2, no problem. Combinations of these monsters will give your league mates nightmares, especially Bijan 1, Olave 2, Burrow 3, and Gibbs 4. Don't lie. You just made an oopsie in your pants, didn't you? Ride for horses at the same time, the Four Horsemen.
Specifically this crew right here, like of the different variations. By the way, Larry, my boy Larry RBF in the house, Vampy, my other boy Vampy, Isaac K, Matt O, appreciate you all being here. Even Love Stars, Klondike, Hod, Love Stars. I apologize for how that sounded. Even Love Stars, even Love Stars. Lunchbox was first in the house. James, JCIM, Nathan, OEG, Alex, Melvin Torres, Matt DeWolf, appreciate you all. Big T in the building, D Philly, Thomas, everybody, appreciate you all following. Silver in the building, Tanner in the building, D Class in the building, Noah, Jarrett, all you, file on in, hit that like button. There are only 42 thumbs up and 130 of you in here. Something needs to be done there. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. I was trying to talk about something specific and I sidetracked myself like I'm so good at doing. And I was trying to show you a 1RB just Bijan and then wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, and then show you where J.K. Dobbins makes a fantastic running back too. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't even get through it. I had to put Gibby here like a magnet, just gravitated right to my third round. This team's straight fire. It's fire, I tell you. I can't contain myself. And, let's say we go another wide receiver here. London sometimes falls to the... Can you imagine? Let's put London here for a second. Where's my London graphic? London, where are you, pal? London, we need your services. London, would you please report to the 5th round? Drake London, would you please report to the 5th round? Your grandma's waiting for you. Thank you, Drake. Jeez, look at that. Holy shit. What is going on here? Look at this team. Look at this team. Your grandma might let you draft this. Maybe the Sharks in your big boy league that you've done for 50 years. Maybe they won't let you draft it. With someone's gifting memberships in here acting like a total monster. Let's see who that is. Let's go ahead and take a look at who's doing this. Pal Derby dropping 20 YouTube exclusive memberships, which you can get right here. If Pal Derby didn't gift you one somehow, some way, because he's dropping almost more YouTube exclusive memberships in the live chat than we have people watching half the time. If you missed out on Pal Derby's gifting and you want to, for $1.99 a month, have a green name, all the extra emojis, show people you support the channel, and they say, hey, that's one of us right there, then all you got to do is click that link right there that I pinned. But Pal Derby to the moon. Pal Derby in the building, ladies and gentlemen. You guys like my shirt, by the way? You guys like my Bijan running back 1 shirt? Let me show you something. This shirt has quickly become my #1 apparel. This is my uniform. When I come to work, this is what I wear. This is now my uniform. I think during the daytime, I bought like 4 or 5 of them. I might buy another 4 or 5 of them from the merch store, by the way, which is located at this right here. thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch. The link is also in the description of every single video. Get your merch on. I'm wearing that little number that you see over on the left side of the screen. I'm wearing this color is fantastic. It's like a blue, okay? It's a nice blue. I got a lot of blue lights in here, so it makes the color a little bit different, but this is a nice blue. It's like one of those like workout shirts kind of, where it's like it stretches, it's perfect. It's short in the sleeves. We got Scuba Steve calling in real quick. Scuba Steve. Hey, Scuba, I'm in the middle of something here, but I definitely want to take your call. So make it quick. I might hang up on you after you ask your question and get you back on after, but what can I do for you, Scuba? What you up to?
Oh, no, man. I didn't know if you were taking any calls. I can just wait until you open up.
I am. You can even go on mute after you ask your question and hang out for a little while. But go ahead, hit me. I got to review what we're doing real quick, and then we'll get to your question. But hit me with it real quick. Quickest question you can get. Go.
All right. I know that this is with the Lamar Jackson, and you're talking about him not rushing. So where as far as like where are you gonna rank? Like, where would you be comfortable drafting him now with this news that he's going to rush less?
So, you heard me talk about Lamar. Let me put Lamar on the screen here. You heard me talk about Lamar at the beginning of the show, right? Like, I'm excited about all this. But, we got to ask ourselves the question. Hold on one second. Let me get this on screen here.
All right.
Okay, topic at hand is Lamar Jackson. Okay, so you heard me talk about how I'm excited about everybody in the offense. If he's throwing more, that means Andrews uptick. Zay Flowers uptick. Odell, sure, uptick for whatever value we had before the draft, and everything. J.K. Dobbins, honestly, I'd say uptick because I don't think they're dialing back the run as much as people will think. They're dialing back Lamar Jackson running. I think they'll dial back the run a little bit. They'll want to throw the football more than they ever have potentially. But does that mean that J.K. is going to be out of the mix? He's a good receiving back. I think this helps keep him healthy if he's a little more involved in the receiving game and a little less up the gut. So it might be good for J.K. As for Lamar, I don't believe that he'll be dialed back so much that it's going to affect him too much. Because if he increases his touchdown passing production, his passing touchdown production, and you're talking about like 20 or 25, like maybe at worst case 25 less carries, like Lamar's going to maybe be more efficient. Sometimes if a running back or a quarterback that is also a running back, sometimes when they run less, they're more efficient. Their body's fresher at the end of the season. They're doing better things. If the passing attack, think about it from this way, Scuba. If the defense is stretched out a little bit because Flowers is zipping down the field on a streak, bro, just stretching the defense time and time again, and the defenses are like, whoa, we got to respect this kid. This guy's fast, okay? You got Odell Beckham Jr., who is no elite talent for 17 games, but in terms of impacting a defense and being on the football field and being a good player for Lamar to have near, goal line red zone situations, like Odell's pretty good. Odell's the number one we weren't excited about, but Odell from a football perspective, from a Ravens perspective, he's a great piece, man. If he can stay healthy and command 5, 6, 7 touchdowns, even if he gets 700 yards, like I'm not expecting huge numbers out of Odell. I'm expecting a fantasy wide receiver 5 that you plug in on bye weeks. But the presence of Odell and the stretching the field of Zay Flowers and a healthy Andrews across the middle, what does that do to a defense, Scuba, comparatively to last year? Stretches it out. What's that do when Lamar Jackson, by nature, he can't control it? You can't tell the guy, okay, you run 150 times a year, we want you to run 100. He's not going to do that. He's going to just, instinct's going to kick in. But what's it mean when the defense is stretched out, Scuba? That means the linebackers are further back. That means the defensive backs are nowhere to be found. That means Lamar Jackson is going to rip off more yards per run and yards per carry. And so you can dial back his running 20 attempts and he probably still has near the same rushing yards. He'll be way more efficient. I'm actually, I told everyone, if they draft one of these wide receivers, I could get on board with Lamar staying in Baltimore. Had Baltimore retain Lamar and they didn't go get a wide receiver, it would have been bust city all over again. This is this is exactly what we said had to happen for me to get on board. I'm on board. So to answer your question, where do I draft Lamar? It would still be behind Fields. It would still be behind Trevor Lawrence. It would still be obviously behind Burrow and the boys, okay, because those are the top 4 guys. And I know some people have Fields over Burrow in fantasy. I don't. Burrow, to me, is a second-round player that everybody forgot to put in the second round, and he's floating in round 4, and he's winning every single one of you leagues. If you walk away from my show today, or ever, let's say you watch this one thing, you don't ever watch anything ever again, you're getting Joe Burrow in round 4, and he belongs in round 2. There's no bigger steal in fantasy. It's like finding a $20 bill in a stack of ones that you got from the bank, and they say, hey, here's 100 ones. You want out 100 ones? You're cashing in that $100 bill. You want 100 ones? Here you go. You're going to the club, whatever. And you're flipping through. Let's not even say 20. You're flipping through your 100 ones, and all of a sudden there's a $100 bill. That's like Joe Burrow. You're looking through the 4th round, and all of a sudden, there's this guy that's supposed to be over in the 2nd round. He's lost, and no one's giving him directions, and they just let him sit there. In round number 4, winning you a league. Joe Burrow wins leagues. He's top 4. He's top 2. He could be number 1, and he belongs in round 2. Now, Trevor Lawrence is going in round 6, 7, which is a steal. This is the closest thing to... And Lamar too, but T-Law, the Law Dogs, the closest thing to Jalen Hurts and Burrow from last year because he's starting to fall into the same round. We thought maybe he'd climb into round 4 or 5. He kind of did for a little while. Now T-Law and a best ball underdog fantasy promo code Smitty Draft. They'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. Use code Smitty. Underdog Fantasy. We draft every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The link is in the description of every video. Get on over there. But T-Law is going around 6, 7, sometimes 5, 6, 7, sometimes 5. And I'm okay with that. If you're in late 5 and you don't think he'll make it back and all the quarterbacks are flying off the board and you say this is a different draft than other drafts, I got to go T-Law at the end of 5. I'm fine with it. Like, that reach is okay. Lamar around that territory, more so like round 6, steal. It's a steal. Like, Lamar round 6 is a steal. Super flex, you got T-Law, Lamar. That's steal territory in that, like, 7, 8, 9 overall range. Now Lamar with all the weapons looks a lot more attractive in super flex if you miss out on those top 5, top 6 quarterbacks. I still have T-Law ahead. Kind of similar to when Fields was outside to answer your question ultimately, Fields was number 5 for me before they traded for DJ Moore and started turning this thing around in the offseason, right? He was number 5, but he was far away from the top 4. He was not in tier 1 quarterback. He was in tier 2. He was the top of tier 2, but still far away. As soon as they traded for DJ Moore, and since the Bears have been turning things around, you've had Fields come up into round 1 and not pass anybody, but he closed that entire gap, and now he's bear hugging the top 4 quarterbacks at the bottom of that tier. And now that's where he lives. And I love it. It's a fantastic value for Justin Fields. I feel very similar about Lamar. I think you have Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Hurts and Mahomes, and you had Fields come up, and now he's bear hugging those 4, and he's number 5. And then you had a pretty big space between Fields, not huge, but just significant enough between Fields and T-Law. Even though I love T-Law, he's super capable. There was a pretty decent space that's been closing, and we're getting real excited about Ridley. It's been closing. Lamar's been far back, but he's still been in order. It's like there's just big space between all these guys. Now Lamar is kind of bear hugging Trevor Lawrence, but neither one has passed anybody. They've just all been creeping up a little bit to get closer and closer to the top of tier 2 or closer to tier 1. But these guys aren't in tier 1. They aren't in tier 1. As much as I love Trevor Lawrence, he is a 6th rounder for a reason. Got a lot of upside there. Joe Burrow blows everybody away at 4th round value comparatively to everybody's ADPs. But to answer your question, Lamar's definitely in the mix for QB 6. QB, you could argue QB 5, but I will say Fields is my 5 for sure. QB 6 is T-Law. It's Lamar. You could throw Aaron Rodgers in there. You could throw a handful of quarterbacks in there to compete for that spot. But Lamar's definitely it's trending up. He's trending up.
All right. So you'd be okay with I guess in like some drafts, I know if Lamar Jackson is like your first quarterback or like one of your quarterbacks, you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, you just said he's QB 6, 7. I mean, sure. Like, what are you going to do if you don't get one of the top 5 quarterbacks? You're going to get the 6th or the 7th quarterback. Like, am I fine with that? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Would I couple him with an Anthony Richardson? Would I couple him with a Jordan Love just in case he gets hurt running the football? Just in case Munkin tries to flip this thing upside down and the entire offense ends up becoming a disaster and they got to dial it all back and try and rebuild what they had because Lamar can only play in this specific offense, which could be the case. We don't fully know. There is some risk involved in watching Lamar do different things out of the norm because Lamar has a very unique skill set. We talked about this all offseason. If Lamar Jackson went to another team, guess what happened? Guess what would have happened? That team would have had to retool everything. Lamar Jackson's not a plug-and-play quarterback. And so that is one reason we've heard that, or at least I've heard lately from people, that Lamar wasn't as hot of a commodity during his whole franchise tagging situation is because offenses would have had to retool everything. You can't just plug and play him. He's such a unique quarterback. Yeah. So if Munkin decides to change things too crazy in a crazy fashion, it's possible Lamar can't deal with that. And he's got to do, like, we've seen it before where they wanted to go run heavy, kind of control Lamar, not let Lamar run as much, and it worked out disastrously, in a disastrous fashion. And they had to dial it back. They had to go back to normal, and Lamar had to become Lamar again in order to get back on track. So there's some concern about that. But I do think Lamar Jackson hasn't had weapons when he's failed passing the football. You know what I'm saying? Like when he hasn't delivered on this, let's change and throw more, and he doesn't do it right, and everybody blames him, and then he runs and he gets hurt. He hasn't had the weapons. Like when he had Hollywood Brown, he played very well. He's played MVP football before. Like we need to keep that in mind. Lamar Jackson has played MVP football before. Lamar Jackson's been without weaponry for a while. He's had Andrews, but that's it. Now he's got Flowers. Now he's got Odell. Now he's got Andrews coming back healthy. JK's coming back healthy. He's got the most weapons he's ever had. So if he's ever going to return to MVP form, it will be this year. He could very well return to MVP form. To answer your question, Scooby, and let me put you on mute after this for a little bit, is that Lamar Jackson makes a fantastic quarterback in round 6 when everybody else has scooped up all the big dogs that I consider big dogs. T-Law, the mid dog that's trying to become a big dog and eat at the big boy table. And he will certainly have meals with the big dogs on occasion this year. T-Law will absolutely have meals, full course meals. T-Law is going to have a couple weeks where he's the number 1 quarterback in, for the week, scoring fantasy football points. He's going to have those games where he throws for 4 or 5 touchdowns. T-Law is the most capable player in the National Football League outside of maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks. And maybe not. Maybe I could literally say I believe he's the most capable of this feat. He's the most capable quarterback in the National Football League, not of scoring a total amount of touchdowns that I'm going to describe, but throwing touchdowns. So you have Hurts who could score 4 or 5 touchdowns in one game, but some of those will be running. You have Mahomes, same thing. But I think T-Law, while he won't lead the league in passing touchdowns, although he could, he will be the one quarterback, in my opinion, that is the most likely to throw for 4+ touchdown games at least twice during the season. So I think it could be a 220-yard game and 4 touchdowns. And literally the next game throw 4 touchdowns and have 250 or whatever. Like he's that kind of guy. And I believe they're going to have that kind of offense with that amount of weapons spread out all over. Ridley returning Zay, Kirk, Ingram's phenomenal for T-Law. ETN they need to utilize more as a pass catcher. I think they will. Last year was essentially his rookie year, and people act like his story's been told. His story cemented in. His role cemented in. He won't get more receiving work. We don't know that. We don't know that. He was essentially a rookie last year. He didn't play a single snap during his rookie year, and so he was learning pass protection in that system, and he's got experience with it, playing with his old quarterback from college, Trevor Lawrence. So there's reason to believe that ETN's PPR world can open up this year. Maybe not as much as we want it to, but for people to close the door on it is ridiculous. ETN's got a lot of upside. He finished very strong. There are very few running backs in the National Football League that finished stronger than ETN on the ground. Dude was electric all the way out, except for that week 18 where they sat him. I mean, he was literally on fire the entire way through the playoffs. In the 2 playoff games, ETN was relied upon, used, trusted. And so I'm excited about ETN. I'm excited about T-Law. I'm excited about this. Look, the quarterbacks are deep. Doesn't mean that Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes, Josh Allen aren't worth 2nd and 3rd round picks, or Joe Burrow round 4, just because T-Law's looking good, just because Lamar's looking good. It is apples to oranges comparison when you start saying taking a quarterback early is bad because it allows it. If you don't go quarterback early, you can grab a wide receiver and you can grab a quarterback later and you'll be fine. You got to compare apples to apples. We always say this. And so you getting Lamar in round 6 is fantastic. And then you get somebody in round 4 that I don't get if I take Burrow in round 4. But guess what? Sometimes in round 6, a player falls that I think is 2nd round worthy, like in hindsight. So it's all about comparing the 2 players that each of you get. and then you can say, okay, it's actually pretty even. Lamar in a fourth-round wide receiver is equivalent to Joe Burrow in round 4 and a sixth-round wide receiver if you take the right wide receiver. It's all about apples to apples comparison. Hang tight for me, Scooby. Just mute yourself real quick. We don't need any mouth breathing while I finish this. First of all, I think I got up about 20 minutes ago to show this shirt. This is my Bijan running back 1 shirt. On the back, it has the Moon Men. Look at the Moon Men. I think there's missing a couple. I just put the majority of the Moon Men on the back. This shirt is actually I got another version of the shirt I can just hold up. Here's the like the gray, like the charcoal gray, I think, version of it. But the Moon Men are on the back of the shirt. The front of the shirt has the Bijan running back 1. You can get it at the merch store, which is right here at thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch. I urge you all to go cop a little bit of that merch right there. Now, let me see real quickly if I have any super chats I got to get to, because I think this one right here. Z Dude dropped a $5 hauler a little while ago. Z Dude, are you still here? And did you end up asking a question? Let's see if Z Dude became a member. Z Dude just became a member on top of dropping a $5 hauler, and I waited until this moment to acknowledge him. Z Dude, where are you, my guy? I need you. Call in real quickly. Call in real quickly, my guy. I got to thank you for becoming a YouTube exclusive member on top of dropping a super chat and back-to-back little sessions there, pal. Appreciate you. Let me see if I can put this number up in the corner here. Dial in, my man. Dial in. I don't know where to go other than go to the phone lines here now that we've discussed all this. JK, excited about J.K. Dobbins. Excited about J.K. Dobbins. I feel like he's one of the more efficient running backs in the National Football League when he's got the ball in his hands, and it's exciting to know he's a year healthier. I was very much against drafting him in previous years, coming back from his ACL tear, just not being 100% and not having the readiness that you need to have. I think I got this covering the phone line. I'm sorry. The readiness you need to have coming back from your torn ACL. It's very different to come back from a torn ACL like Javonte. You got an LCL, an ACL, and you're kind of you're not ahead of schedule. And so you're going to be asked to go out there and cut for the first time right before week 1. We saw how that worked out for JK. We saw how that worked out for Barkley. That's not good. It's no bueno. And the fact that we got Breece Hall way ahead of schedule, looking like he's going to be an absolute monster, and maybe they dial back his production a little bit in the beginning just to keep him healthy and ease him in, because you still don't go out there and take shots to the knee and fully cut on that knee like you do during a game when you're preparing. You just want to keep that knee as healthy as possible. So there is a little bit of like shock to the knee to go out there and just play football for the first time on a full game. So there could be like a 10, 12 carry cap on Breece for the first like 2 or 3 games, but he could be ultra efficient. I mean, his last game, the game he tore his ACL, did he not have like 4 rushes for 71 yards and a touchdown on the ground right before he tore his ACL? It was like 4 for 71 or some crazy number. Breece Hall is the man. And J.K. Dobbins wasn't ready like Breece Hall appears to be, so he wasn't a void. But guess what? Time has passed, and I do like him a lot at his current ADP, which appears to be 5-6 round territory. I'm okay with it. It's good value. Andrews uptick in the passing attack should spell good things for him. Flowers, great wide receiver 3-4 in fantasy, even as a rookie, even in redraft. And Lamar, top 6-7 quarterback. I'm not going to put him 5 because Fields is 5 for me, but top 6-7. T-Law and Lamar, you could argue this all day long. I'll take T-Law given the changes and how easy of an adjustment this is going to be. Always have a little bit of concern for Lamar heading into a new situation, but that's it. That is all she wrote on this particular topic, but you can call in and ask questions. We got 120 of you in here and only 71 thumbs up. The 71 thumbs up is nice. But hit that thumb up button. Let's get that over 100 bills. 121 in here. Dial into the show. Phone number's on screen.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, Scuba, what else you got?
Oh, I was just going to add in with you real quick before I get to my next topic. because you're talking about Lamar. I was just gonna say that I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for Lamar, if he wants to play with a chip on his shoulder, now that he actually has like the weapons. I feel like everybody disrespected him, that like they didn't want to go after him. So maybe this guy, like, he actually wants to. Even though it's dialed back a little bit, he wants to show that he can actually pass. I mean, like, these guys are all human. I'm sure they hear all the narratives that he's not this good thrower and all this other stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to, like, try to show that he can actually be a decent passer and stuff.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. I definitely feel like that is the case, and I think that there's a lot of excitement here for the number 6-7 quarterback. He's still my 7. You know, as optimistic as I sound here, he's still my number 7. That's still very far down. Like, to say, oh yeah, he's gonna have a great year as my QB 7 out of a 12-team league, you know, it almost sounds disrespectful, but at the same time, it's like T. Law's that good. I'm that excited about T. Law. T. Law could be a 38+ touchdown throwing quarterback. You know, the T. Law could easily have over 40 total touchdowns. Easily. Yeah. He's getting Ridley. He's got a very underrated arsenal of wide receivers and pass catchers, even including ETN, who we haven't seen tapped into yet. This is a great pass catching group. I mean, Ingram alone is a fantastic, understated, not talked about enough, undervalued player and asset for T. Law. Christian Kirk had a phenomenal year last year, and he continues to prove people wrong. And I do love him for this team and for football. I don't know what his fantasy numbers will look like with Ridley, if Ridley does do what we think Ridley can do. But from a football perspective, and possibly still a fantasy football perspective, like, Kirk could have a 1,200-yard, 8-touchdown season and be absolutely lights out. It's just, he's such a good football asset for T-Law. T-Law has got Zay Jones, man. Zay's a great wide receiver. He's not a good wide receiver. He's a great wide receiver. Like, I mean, fantasy-wise, I don't know that he'll ever be consistent, and I like him a little bit, you know, in the very tail end of a draft. But Zay is like that utility guy. You know, Zay reminds me of a guy that I'm always, like, lower on than people, because I feel like utility-wise, football-wise, he's phenomenal for his team, but he's hard to, like, trust consistency-wise because there's a lot of mouths to feed, is Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel always looks really good. He's a great utility guy. Mini Debo Samuel, poor man's Debo Samuel, very poor man's Debo Samuel. But I feel the same way about Zay. I feel like Zay and Debo and Curtis Samuel, these are all like their weapons. You know, T-Law's got it. So as much as I love Lamar, I just can't rank him more than 7. And that's still hard because, like, Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of factors that go into play. Like, T-Law is my number 6. I'm not moving him. Fields is my number 5. I'm not moving him. And then my top 4, like everybody else, is like a blender. Just turn the blender on. Who pops out? All 4 of them are fantastic. The only thing is Joe Burrow's going in round 4, so he's by far the most valuable. Period. End of discussion. Like, no debate. Joe Burrow's in round 4. The other 3, Mahomes, Hurts, and Josh Allen, are going in round 2. Like, there's a 2-round difference between those guys, and they all belong in round 2. What does that say? Joe Burrow wins you a league? Absolutely. Get burrowed. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
What else you got, Scooby?
So with this Aaron Rodgers news about him injured, are you worried about that? They're downplaying it right now. Well, maybe it's just not nothing, but is it something that you just want to monitor right now, see how it is? 'Cause, I mean, this guy just showed up in camp and just stretching. I think he said that he was just stretching out, like doing like foot exercises with the trainers, and he said that he got. Well, they said that I think he had like a calf.
Yeah, he's 85 years old. He's 85 years old, so there's going to be some, things to worry about with him. But I mean, I think what it comes down to, bro, is just maintenance. Like, you walk out there and you have a little bit of a calf strain. Do you want that to become something different? No. So you're playing it cautious. It doesn't sound like it's anything big right now. A calf strain is not a calf pull or a tear. A calf strain is like, wow, that one, that could turn into a pulled muscle that we don't want to tear or anything. So let's just keep it on the, let's heal it up. I'm not worried about it. He'll be out there 2 practices from now, and it's going to be like no one's even talking about it. Hey, how's the calf? It's fine. It's fine. Oh, it's not even bothering you anymore? No. Not a big deal. But, we'll keep an eye on it. But, I mean, we don't know. I mean, the honest answer is, Scuba, we don't know. But I'm fine with it. I'm not concerned.
I know that. I just feel like because sometimes I just because when these guys show up to camp, there is a lot of these injuries that happen at camp. Sometimes there's ACL injuries and all that stuff too, and stuff. So that's why every time somebody's on the injury report, even during training camp, it's sometimes it's hard to figure out if it's something that you got to worry about, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Frankie says Smitty is drinking, thinking Swift's gonna return even 7-round value. Frankie, there's gonna be 2 schools of thought on this. You either see the upside of Swift at this cost of entry or you don't. The risk is either you got to admit, Frankie, the talent is there. He's one of the most talented running backs in the National Football League. But we've seen before players be as talented as can be, but cannot stay on the field. And the best ability is availability. And so there is an argument, 1,000%, Frankie, that you are correct. He could get injured. And we're all expecting that. If we didn't expect potentially there to be season-ending injury risk, or maybe he can't stay healthy and then they just don't trust him. And even when he comes back, like the Lions, they don't use him because they're just like, well, how do we implement a guy where we feel like he's just going to get hurt again? But Frankie, you have to admit that this guy has the ability and talent if he stays on the field to be electric. So it just essentially comes down to this. Do you feel like the cost of entry is still too risky given other players that you like around him? Or not. It's not like Frankie, it's so funny that the anti-Swift people, they don't accept the other person's stance, even though the pro-Swift people understand the anti-Swift stance. I don't understand that. I get why somebody doesn't like Swift, but I don't understand how somebody can't understand somebody else liking Swift. That's the only thing. So I would say, Frankie, if you don't think he's worth a 7th round pick, don't take him there. But I will take him in the 7th round all day long. And if he fails me, I'm willing to risk the biscuit on that, because I'm not risking the entire biscuit. I'm risking a sliver. I'm risking a small piece of the biscuit. I'm not going to lose my leagues if Swift doesn't return full value. Will Swift probably return on a bad season something close to 7th round value? I think so. I mean, he did it last year. Last year, he easily returned what was arguably Swift, 7th round potential value on 8 touchdowns, decent yardage, 40 plus receptions. What do you have? 48 receptions. He had a good year considering he had the most disappointing year, it feels like, in the history of fantasy football to most people that did take him really high. But if you're taking him at 7th round value and you're getting maybe 35, even if you don't get the same number of receptions, you got to understand, yeah, they don't throw a ton in Philly to the RBs, but they also haven't had a receiving running back like Swift before to throw the football to. So I think people are trying to tie previous year numbers entirely to this situation, and I don't think you can. But even if he pulls in, let's say, 35 passes instead of 48 or whatever, which he easily is going to pull in 35 passes if he stays healthy, and if he scores 3 or 4 receiving touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, gets you 6 to 7 touchdowns, catches 35 passes, gets you, let's say he doesn't get you 1,000 yards total. Let's say he gets you a 350, 400 on the ground, 400 receiving, 350 receiving, whatever. That's still going to be, at the end of the day, in PPR, that's still going to be 7th round material. So, disappointing, he's going to get you potentially 7th round material if he stays healthy. Injury concerns really the only thing I think can be argued to an extreme degree, and I understand the injury risk because it's 100% there. But this kid was traded for a reason. They didn't trade for him to have him ride the bench. And I don't know if you guys remember. This is kind of an important part that gets glossed over a lot when it comes to DeAndre Swift. Is Swift? I don't know if anybody remembers Week 1 in 2022. DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift dropped a massive Week 1 on everybody's lap on the ground. Let me highlight that and put that on screen. And this is kind of an important stat because of who he played. But here's DeAndre Swift's game log from last year. And here's DeAndre Swift's Week 1. Week 1, he played Philly. He ran the ball 15 times, 9.6 a pop, 1 touchdown, and 144 yards. That was his Week 1 performance last year, and we all thought we struck gold. This is a top 12 to 15 overall pick. A lot of us, including myself, believed in Swift at that value. He burned a lot of us, but he ran the ball 15 times for 144 yards and a touchdown against the Eagles. And the Eagles said that's a big reason why they traded for him, because they saw him in action and they were so impressed with him. They wanted him on their team, and they've been targeting him. Some of the decision makers there have been following Swift for a while, even since high school. They've talked about it. There's a couple of articles on it. They really like Swift. They like Swift a lot. So, disagree if you want, Frankie. But no one's saying it's a lock at all. But at 6th, 7th round, or in your case, what you're saying, 7th round value, I'll take that all day long. And if I miss on it, so be it. And I'm not saying I won't try other avenues out at the 7th and 6th round, like if Kamara's there or Charbonnet in round 8, 8, 9. Charbonnet's been falling to 8 and 9, so nobody reached higher than round 8 or 9 for Charbonnet. He's been falling a ton. Pickens falls to round 6. That's a fantastic pick there. Sometimes Pickens falls to round 7. So there are other options to go get. You just don't have to, you don't have to totally hate the Swift value, and run away from it just because of injury, in my opinion, because the cost of entry is baked in. But that's me. I understand a lot of people are going to run from him, especially people that invested in him last year and they got burned. It's a natural feeling to have where you're like, I'm not touching that player. And I get it. Totally understand it. I think we got another super chat here. This one's from Vampy, and then I got another one from Thomas. Vampy, appreciate you, my guy. Are there certain kinds of players that you'd rather trade for as opposed to drafting, like bank on them having a slow start and trade for them? Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I don't go into things thinking that, because you can never predict who's going to have a slow start. I mean, Lamar's one of those players that can. I think that what I do, Vamp, is after week 1, we do our buy low, sell high video. After week 2, buy low, sell high, like buy low, sell high all week, every week. That is where we come in and we say, okay, this guy had a bad week 1, strike. Strike. And then he has another bad week 2. And then, whoa, you had 2 bad weeks in a row. Some people might getting a little worried. But if he's somebody we believe in, think about Dameon Pierce last year. Think about Kenneth Walker. Think about Breece Hall. All those guys started off really slow. In some cases, like Walker wasn't even playing. And people started giving up right away. People started dropping Kenneth Walker. It was very known that Kenneth Walker wasn't playing week 1. Like, I don't understand how people went into the season knowing what time it was, and then after like 2 weeks of holding Walker when he clearly wasn't going to play yet, he had hernia surgery, and they cut him because they're impatient, Ungers, and they cut him, and then we've got our community scooping him up. I don't even understand it. So, Vamp, I love buy low, sell high season. It's one of my favorite, but predicting it, not really. If anything, I'd say the opposite. I'd say maybe I draft an Eckler in round 2 and I sell him after 4 straight weeks of doing really well. Henry, same thing. I tend to not try and put myself in a box, though, to where I've got to actually draft a player and I have to sell them, I'd rather just draft a player that I don't want to sell at all. And I can find players around those territories that I like equally as much from draft day. So I don't really need to go down those roads very often. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door. We got 81 thumbs up, 130 of you in here. Vampy, appreciate you. And I love this topic, but just from the season's already kicked off, and then we reapproach, going and buying guys that are slumping. But buying guys that are slumping every single year, 4, 5, 6, 10 guys that we know are going to bounce back, or we feel very confident will bounce back, end up bouncing back, and there's a window of time to buy them, and that is the best that you can win a league in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 when people are slumping. Usually by like week 6, all that is over, and anybody still slumping at that point, you got some real concerns. But we've seen players like slump for like 4 or 5 straight weeks and still buy into them. And similar at the end of a season with rookies especially, I always tell you guys, rookies 100% have this slow, where's my marker? Where's my eraser? Rookies 100% have this, let me see if I can clear this off with this little tiny eraser on this pen. Rookies have this thing where it's like week 1, week 17. Week 17. Okay? Where it's fantasy production. Sometimes the rookies will start off, really hot. They'll be like this. And then right around like week 10, which is like where a college season is in terms of number of games, rookies, wide receivers, running backs, doesn't matter. They hit like this wall. And Jamar Chase hit that wall. And sometimes that wall is 1 week thick before they break through it. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Jamar Chase's was pretty thick. The wall was pretty bad. And this was when he hit this wall, I was out beating a dead horse and beating a drum constantly. Go trade for Jamar Chase. He'll single-handedly win you a league. And people said, I don't know. I think he just had an anomaly type beginning of the year. It was a very long wait. People in my community, if you watched my channel back then, they bought like sometimes at the beginning of this wall or in the middle. And it was a long stretch. It was like multiple games where he didn't bounce back yet. And people were like, Smitty, what's going on here? I went and bought Jamar Chase. You told me to go buy him. He is not bouncing back. And it was like, okay, keep waiting. Wait another week. Smitty, another bad week. What's going on? How am I going to win a league like that? And then Jamar Chase freaking exploded. And he single-handedly won people leagues, walked them into championships. Rookies have that tendency to be great buy lows in this territory if they're the real deal. Rookies will always... Good rookies, the amazing ones, will always have this lull for a while, and the good ones will shoot out like a rocket at some point. So keep that in mind too. But Vampy, great questions. Appreciate you, Vamp. The Vampinator. Thomas, could you see T-Law having a better season than Justin Herbert? Like T-Law over Herbert and redraft all day? Yeah, I mean... You heard me. I didn't even describe. Herbert is in the Lamar Jackson group. Okay. So it's T-Law number 6 for me. And then I didn't mention Herbert, but of course Herbert's in that. It's after that. It's the Law Dog. After Fields at 5, it's the Law Dog. It's Lamar. It's Herbert. They're all in that group, but I have T-Law first. But could you argue Herbert over Lamar or Lamar over Herbert? Sure. Until Herbert bounces back, no one's crazy to worry about Herbert. Like if you say, oh, Herbert's gonna be number 3, watch, Smitty, he will be the number 3 quarterback this season. Watch, number 3, Herbert will be number 3. If you said that, I wouldn't call you crazy at all. And Z-Dude, did you ever end up having a question? Z-Dude, appreciate you. And Z-Dude, call in if you're still watching, because I appreciate you. If you think Herbert's going to bounce back, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but when people come in and say, like, how can you not have Herbert number 5? Like, until we see it, it's nothing wrong with waiting. Nothing wrong with waiting. Nothing wrong with saying Lamar or T-Law have a little bit more upside. No one would be crazy to even say, not draft him next to Herbert, but say, I don't think I'll draft Herbert here in round 5. I think I'm going to go ahead and wait for Aaron Rodgers in round 9. Like, there's nothing wrong with that approach at all. At all. Aaron Rodgers in round 9 is fantastic. I've seen him going 10. I've seen him going 8. I've seen him going 9. I've seen T-Law going 6. I've seen him going 5. I've seen him going 7. I've gotten T-Law in 7 in Best Ball Fantasy, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. We draft on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Marathon draft nights every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's marathon 3-day stretches every single week at midnight Eastern. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, Smitty, when do we draft? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Smitty, we going to draft tonight? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Marathon 3 days in a row every single week until kickoff midnight. I'm live 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm every day, Monday through Friday. I'm live whenever news breaks. Panic Chamber Tuesday nights, daily uploads. You know how we do it. Dial into the show. This is a great question, though, Thomas, and Herbert definitely deserves to be in the conversation. I just don't know that I can put him myself in that number 6 spot. I just can't right now. Who do you pair with A-Rod if he's your QB1? Great question, D. Philly. And a lot of people will grab the quarterback that they pair with him before they grab A-Rod, which is so funny. Like Anthony Richardson, AR-15. You can grab AR-15 as your QB2, but grab him before you grab Aaron Rodgers. And so, that's how we roll. What else you got? Busiest man in fantasy. Yep, that's right, pal. Russell Wilson comeback year. I don't know, Daddy Dennis. I think there's too much risk involved to be starting Russell Wilson, in my opinion. I don't think Russell Wilson is somebody that I could draft. Smitty working OT for us. Appreciate you, D. Appreciate you. Phone lines are open. Dial in. Hey, Scuba, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, man.
I forgot you were there, bro. I'm sorry. What else can I help you with?
Just with the DeAndre, I guess you're talking about DeAndre Swift. I guess I'll just continue in. 'Cause I know that DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny are, I guess you can say that they are injury prone. If you wanted to, I guess to go the Eagles route and handcuff a guy, would you try to go after Gainwell instead of going after a Penny route? Because I know that Rashad Penny, he would be the secondary option, but that guy every time that he's on you don't really know if he's gonna step up. He can, when he has the touches, he does get hurt. So would you just go the Kenny Gainwell route?
I think you're not crazy to cuff the entire situation if you're gonna, let's say, think about it. I mean, there are two. I'm gonna have a video on this when we talk about zero RB, or hero RB, either one. But zero RB specifically, there are two approaches that I really, really, really like that are deep. They cost a lot in terms of collecting, people together and consuming multiple spots. Leslie says, I just found Smitty about a month ago. I'm in now. Mashed potatoes. Appreciate you very, very much. Let's give you a mashed potato. I accidentally hit the Smitty disapproved. Smitty approved. Okay, so here are the two strategies. You grab all of the KC running backs, or you grab all of the Philly running backs. It takes and consumes a lot of drafts, a lot of capital. And the KC running backs, you could just go McKinnon and Pacheco. You don't have to go Clyde. But Clyde's the end of the draft. You could literally take him as the last selected player. And a lot of people will make fun of this and say, you're going to consume 3 players from one team? That's crazy. Okay, Bob. Okay, go play your safe football. Have fun. You got to take risks. You got to do weird, unorthodox things when you draft in an unorthodox fashion. If you go zero RB, you're towing the line. You're playing with fire to begin with, and you like that, and it's a very fun strategy. But if you think about it, Pacheco, McKinnon, Clyde, one of those guys is going to be absolute fire one at a time too. It's not like they run all of them. They run one guy. When McKinnon was on fire, McKinnon was a top 1 to 2 running back in fantasy football for a handful of games. A handful. And when Pacheco was on fire, Pacheco was on fire. When Clyde was on fire, Clyde was on fire. I know people don't like to admit it, but at the beginning of the year, we scored massive amounts of touchdowns. So to own and consume the entire KC backfield, it's actually a pretty smart 0 running back strategy for one of your running back spots. The same thing could be said for Philly. If you go drafting Swift in round 6 to 7, let's say like Frankie said, round 7, you grab also Penny later. You also grab Gainwell at the very end of your draft, and you're going 0 RB. You're supposed to have a crazy running back room. That's not bad. I mean, in a sense, you could literally have, if you throw Clyde out and just monitor Clyde, you could have 5 running backs with that combination, go 0 RB, and literally, have 2 of the best running back, production rooms in the National Football League. Like it's crazy, but it's actually not that bad of a strategy. At least deploying one of those platoons as your, running back, one of your running back spots. But I mean, think about it. If you had the KC running backs last year, what did that look like?
You had Jarrett McKinnon.
Yeah,
you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and you also had Isaiah Pacheco.
And yeah, but I'm saying, what did it look like? It's probably I don't even know what it would look like. Probably top 5 or 6 running back. I'm going to calculate the stats, but McKinnon was so good during his 4 or 5 game stretch, whatever it was. He was like running back 1. He was like running back 2. He was an absolute monster. Tristan, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, Smitty, I was wondering if you had time for me to give you my Dynasty lineup as some quick trade advice.
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
All right. So here's my starting lineup. I've got Derek Carr, Breece Hall.
Breece Hall.
Ramondre. Yeah.
Okay.
Ramondre. Garrett Wilson. Amon-Ra. Drake London. Kincaid.
Okay.
Christian Watson. Jahan Dotson.
Jeez.
And I've got Kenny Pickett in the Superflex right now. And I've got Ritter and Purdy on the bench, as well as Monty.
Okay. So Monty.
And I'm looking.
Okay.
And I'm looking to upgrade quarterback, and it's funny y'all are talking about T-Law, because I'm kind of targeting him. So I was thinking about trading away either Ramondre or Amon-Ra, but I want to be really careful about that. Like either one of them with a first, or something, or like
you said this?
Maybe
you said this is a super flex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So T-Law does have more value than Amon-Ra straight up. So I do agree that if you were to try and go get a QB, you've got Carr and you've got Pickett as your 2 QBs. You do need to give up St. Brown or something significant. I'd try not to get rid of Breece Hall. I'd try not to get rid of Garrett Wilson. I'd try not to get rid of St. Brown, but I think you might have to in order to get a QB. I would go after Fields or T-Law, I guess.
You said Fields?
Yeah, Fields first, but...
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard, I've got Purdy and Ritter on the bench. And I kind of thought about maybe trading Ritter away. But, I just want to be careful about trading away St. Brown. I feel like any other receivers are not worth trading away right now.
I mean, you could...
value him.
Look, Carr's going to do pretty good, I think. And he laser locks.
He'll give me a few years, I feel like.
Yeah, he laser locks on. I mean, you might be okay, but what I would prefer, what if you traded like a future first rounder and Carr to get a Fields or to get a T-Law?
Yeah, I mean that would. Yeah, you think that would be worth it?
Yeah, especially, I mean, your team is very, very solid. You know, your team.
Yeah, I don't feel like my 24 first is going to be very high.
Yeah, I would take Fields, and I would take Carr in the first for Fields in a heartbeat. And if you got to go T-Law, I'd do that. If you got to go Lamar, I'd potentially do that. I do think those are difference makers. Even Herbert's a good buy low. That gives you some future value as well. But in Superflex, those are all first round quarterbacks. You know, if you're drafting over starting from today, they would go in round 1. So if you could trade Carr, you know, I'd even give like Monty for free if I had to get like something done. Carr, you know, like it's a bold move, but if you could get a Fields, bro, Fields, Hall, Stevenson, Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, London, Kincaid, Watson, Dotson. I mean, this team's fire. I like it, bro.
Yeah, I feel like Carr would be, as much as I don't want to trade away Carr because he's my best bet, I feel like all the others have the most potential to go up in value, and I don't want to trade them low.
Yeah, I hear you. I could get behind trading either one of your two QBs. You know, if you want to trade Pickett or trade Carr with the first rounder to get T-Law or Fields, I'm all about that. Silva says, Smitty, would you take Higgins or Devontae Smith? I'd probably take Devontae Smith, but I mean they're both in similar situations. They're both the number 2s for their teams. But Devontae, I feel like has a clearer path to maybe getting, you know, wide receiver 1 for his team type of starts because A.J. Brown's got the knee issues. A.J. Brown's also one of the most efficient wide receivers in the National Football League. He doesn't get the volume other people get, and it's crazy because it followed him from Tennessee. We thought maybe this guy would come over to Philly and maybe finally get volume. He doesn't really get volume. He just is the most efficient wide receiver in the National Football League. Like, let me ask. I'll ask Tristan this, and Tristan, you may know the answer to this, but what do you think? If you catch 1,500 yards, what's your reception total? Would you guess normally? Like if you're pulling in 1,500 yards.
Yeah, I'd say like, oh man, probably like 110, 115.
Yeah. 110 receptions, 115 receptions when you pull in 1,500 yards. A.J. Brown had 88 receptions with 1,496. It's unreal. It's unreal. The guy's the most efficient wide receiver in the National Football League by far. Like he is Mr. Efficient. 11 touchdowns, 1,496 on 88 receptions, and this is what he did in Tennessee. So my point being that this guy has the potential to maybe not be as efficient some year. And so there's opportunity for Devontae Smith is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying I don't love A.J. Brown. I love A.J. Brown. He didn't come on the show last year, but he had come on my Instagram 2 years in a row. We kind of made it a thing. And now he, you know, I can't get a hold of him anymore, but I love this guy. We talk to him every year. I told him you're going to be a top 5 wide receiver in this league, AJ, and he was like, "Really?" He like had no idea. You know, he had no idea he was that good. We had to tell him. We had to remind him. But AJ Brown, 88 receptions for 1,496, unreal, absolutely unreal. So there's a lot of ability for Devontae to get in there, I think, and get a massive amount of receptions, especially if this guy misses some time or just isn't as efficient for once. You know, or something like that. But that's crazy, man. 1,400, 1,500 yards. He had basically 1,500 yards. Like you just said, Tristan. 115 receptions, 120. Like that's what you... It's crazy.
Right.
What else you got?
Actually, Devontae Smith is another one that I feel like is undervalued by a lot of people. Like, he's the second wide receiver on his team, and he was a top 10 wide receiver, I'm pretty sure, last year.
Yeah, he was. I think he was like number 7 in many cases. He was absolutely lights out. And Funny because I said he'd be a top 5 wide receiver when he was coming into his rookie season, and that kind of fell flat for the first like year and a half, 2 years, and you look back on that video, and people were like, there's comments all over saying this one didn't age well. This aged like spoiled milk, and that was like a year out, 2 years out. But then, like, all of a sudden, I'm starting to get comments on that old video, be like, "This was an amazing prediction." It's like he was a top 6, 7 wide receiver in many formats. Devontae Smith is just an electric player, amazing receiver, great body control, fantastic. There you go, grab this. Thank you. But anyway, Isaac, appreciate you. Let's see here. Tristan, what else you got?
Oh, I was just really trying to work on this roster. Like, I really like have a hard time. I'm just kind of getting into Dynasty like in the last few months, and I'm like, do I try to compete? Like, I'm trying to figure out that whole thing about like the window or whatever. Like, do I try to win with this team now? And if I do,
Sure.
What does that look like? Or do I don't want to shoot myself in the foot for the future type thing.
No, I mean, it's definitely a win now team. I mean, I like the squad, bro. I mean, it's like Vamp said, it's an all Smitty team. And the crazy part is, as you read it off to me, we started looking at it. Let me go back to the board here. When we were looking at it, once we got into like the bench, so you said like London, I'm okay. This is where it's going to die down. Kincaid, okay, great, awesome. You got Kincaid as well. Watson and Dotson. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. So no, this team can win now. I think if you do a move where you borrow from the future without affecting these future players, and you turn Carr or Pickett into Fields or T. Law or Burrow, I mean, bro, it's an amazing squad. It's an amazing squad.
Yeah, I don't want to try to like, save for the perfect moment, because I feel like that's just not the right way to go, and then screw myself over, shoot myself in the foot for no reason.
Yeah.
But then again, my whole team's pretty young as it is, so it's not like I could. I got pretty lucky with this draft. One player I'm really don't feel great about for the future, honestly, is Ramondre. I go back and forth on him, man.
All right, hang tight. Pete Carroll, you're live.
Yeah, how you doing, man? I got one thing to say. I wouldn't draft Devontae just because he lost me $20,000 last year for missing that pass. Yeah, I mean, I was going out of bounds on that pass in the Super Bowl. So ever since then, I'm like, nah, I can't do it. But I got one question for you, man. I need to get a wait, hold on. I'm sorry. You're right.
What you got there, Pete Carroll?
Oh yeah. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, I traded. I got two things. I traded Devontae. I traded Flowers for Hopkins and redraft. Then I guess this news came out where it said Lamar's gonna throw away more. I kind of knew it, but I still think I probably got the best of the deal by getting Hopkins if he goes to another team, or even if he stays with Arizona. He should be a target hog. I
don't mind that redraft. I could get behind Hopkins over Flowers in redraft because rookies are up and down. As I explained with my rookie chart, it's like they're gonna drop off. Week 10, 11, 12, they're gonna go through a rookie wall. Some rookie walls are 2 or 3 weeks deep. Some of them are 1 week. Some of them are 4 weeks. Some of them never recover. When they hit the wall, they fall flat, and then they come back the next season and do well. I would say, give me Hopkins. And the fact that the Cardinals, I think, are souring on Hopkins, the fact that Hopkins is kind of talking bad about the decision makers and the brass, and he's kind of saying he wants a better situation. He wants a quarterback that loves the game. Then he defended Kyler and said Kyler is a guy that's competitor and all that. But he's gone back and forth. He's really gone back and forth, and I think he's creating a little bit of animosity between the team and him. And I think that they're probably saying, let's get this guy out of the locker room and let's move on, because they want to move on anyway. They just didn't get the draft capital in 2023, the NFL draft that they wanted. So they're kind of like, after the draft came and went, and they're probably saying, well, now I don't want to do it because we didn't get what we wanted. Wolf says Russell Wilson's donezo in Denver, and he's a Broncos fan, so he does not like Russell Wilson in Denver. But
see, I don't know about that one though.
Yeah, but I'd say Hopkins is probably getting traded, and a contender's going to acquire him. And if he doesn't, then he's still going to get a lot of targets. He probably won't have the touchdown production, but he'll get a lot of targets. So I like that move. I'd rather have Hopkins than Flowers in redraft. In Dynasty, though, I'd rather have Flowers because Hopkins has 1 year left.
Hopkins probably got like 1 or 2 more years at the max.
Yeah.
And one more thing, man. I traded Bryce. Well, I traded for Bryce Young and Superflex. But I gave away Travis Etienne, and I was wondering, what do you think about that one?
I'm torn on that one. I think value-wise, you got, at least even value, because Bryce Young is a quarterback in Superflex. He's going to go a lot higher, probably higher than Etienne, probably going to go in the second or third round in a Dynasty startup, Superflex. So, you did fine. On paper, you did fine. It just matters, what did your QB room look like? What's your running back room look like now? Did you need to make the move? Did you have somebody that I already liked? So it just depends. But in general, no, you did good. Those rookie quarterbacks, Bryce Young and also Anthony Richardson, especially Anthony Richardson because of the rushing upside, those guys have like near second-round value in Dynasty Superflex startups.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I did good because I still got Barkley and Bijan and Ramondre. So I was thinking my running backs were pretty decent, and my quarterbacks was kind of weak. But I didn't, everybody has different opinions about Bryce. Some people think that he's not going to be that good, but I think Guy's going to be like a monster, bro. Like Drew Brees,
Yeah.
A little bit.
Hey, hang tight.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Hang tight, Pete. You can stay on the line here. If you got another question, just let me know. Isaac, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
Earlier, you were talking about you have T-Law locked in at 6, and then it's like, Lamar and Herbert afterwards. What do you think of, like, the new offensive coordinator coming into the Chargers? I thought he was really good with Dallas. Dallas always had a good offense with him, and now they have the new wide receiver.
Yeah, so these are the big four. Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, any order. I don't even debate the order anymore because it just goes on to this rabbit hole where everybody's like, wait a minute, but you don't like. So it's like, these are the four. You have them however you want. Tier number 2 for me is Fields, and he's leading the way. I think T-Law, Lamar, Herbert, Herbs, A-Rod. That's not it. I'm just listing off, a handful there. They're all fighting in that tier 2. Fields, I think, has climbed at least into the bottom of tier 1 with the big four, or he's like hugging it and he's in his own tier. I do think Fields has that ability to almost like have a sub tier that's either hugging or it's like a bubble that's like a little pod that just entered the atmosphere of these quarterbacks, and he's sitting in there, but he's in his own little bubble. Your argument, anybody's argument of Herbs, Lamar, T-Law, A-Rod, or other is very valid. Very valid. There's no real reason somebody should be down on anybody's argument, like to extremely like strong type of degree, that's saying Lamar should be number 6 or Fields should be this is all arguable. Herbert's got a lot to prove. He failed a lot of people last year. He did get a new wide receiver, which is fantastic protection for if or when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen go down. And so he could get thrusted in there and get fed early and mature quickly. He's the most raw of the 4 rookie wide receivers, though. But he's definitely got upside, and he's kind of like the Mike Williams role in a sense. But like Herbert, yeah, getting Kellen Moore, getting a aggressive, potentially, play caller that's gonna, I think, maybe throw less to Austin Eckler, to be honest, And keep in mind, Austin Eckler had an unbelievable year last year, but he's going in the second round. What's that tell you? That people are worried about him being 28 years old, no matter how good he did last year. People are worried about the fact that that wide receiver room was banged up all season long, and Herbert was still kind of injured, and he was thrown to Eckler constantly because he was the only really fully healthy option all year long. That probably won't repeat itself. So, I think Herbert is a wait and see for me. He doesn't climb ahead of any of these guys other than maybe A-Rod, and A-Rod and Herbert are neck and neck. I have Fields above everyone below him. I have T-Law above everybody else. I have Lamar next, and I have A-Rod, Herbert, and a handful of other guys fighting for that next spot. But this is a deep quarterback, group this year. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, and a handful of others. You literally have 12 really good starters, which makes the case for a lot of people to say you should wait on a quarterback. But again, it just comes down to apples to apples comparison. Just because you're taking a quarterback early doesn't mean you're not getting a steal of a wide receiver where the person's taking their quarterback that says to wait. So it's just, it's an ever flowing argument that never ends where people say you shouldn't take a quarterback early. But Herbert's, you should feel good about this because Herbert, if you do like him, if you do believe in him, and you have every right to, and there's an argument to be made here, Herb's is he's in a good spot because he's only kind of got up to go. He can only go up from here. Like he's sitting kind of in a really low place, like most people.
Yeah.
At most, he's ranking 6 or 7 in the highest of optimistic, situations. He's in somebody's like QB 6-7, territory. That's it. He can't be higher than someone's QB 6-7.
Yeah. I like T-Law a little more. I draft him more. I find in best ball, but I do like the addition of the offensive coordinator. I just think it was a bad move by Dallas because now I don't know about McCarthy calling the plays for them. I'm not a big fan of that.
Vamp says, will they go less to Eckler since he has more incentives in his deal? I think it's like 1.75 mil. I don't think it's a big enough incentive to make him stray away from, giving him the football. But people laugh at this kind of comment, and the Niners do this historically. The Niners will literally not give the ball to a guy that's got, a payday coming from incentives. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, ask a Niner fan. They'll tell you. It's crazy. Like Raj was talking about it in the quad box, how they'll literally, not pay a guy, not get him the football. But no, Vamp, I'm not too concerned about 1.75 mil. I think they want to win. They want to win. If they were like tanking and things were falling apart and the Chargers had the worst year ever, like, could I see a situation like that? I suppose, but yeah, I don't know. D Philly, appreciate you. Smitty's like a teacher with the whiteboard, marker board. Appreciate you. Let's go back to Scuba Steve. What do you got?
Oh, sorry. Just to touch up on the Justin Herbert, man, I think he could be in for a good year, but I guess it depends on if those guys actually stay healthy. I missed one of your live streams. You saw that Austin Eckler got signed, so I'm assuming that's going to be pretty good. But would you handcuff him with any of those guys? Is that running back room interesting to you?
So he didn't get signed. He got an extra little like bump in incentive. Eckler didn't get a new contract. He didn't get signed. He wants to be signed. He's disgruntled about it, and they pretty much said, we're not paying you. We're not giving you a new deal. Mm-hmm. And so just want to correct you on that. Eckler got a $1.75 million incentive package inserted into his current deal to try and make him a little bit happier. But no, he didn't get paid. So he's not happy right now. Eckler thinks he should be getting a and granted, I'd probably think it too. I'd think I'm an anomaly. I'm a different guy. I'm going to be a running back that's going to run till I'm 33 years old. Like, I would think that too. Like, I understand where Eckler's coming from, but Eckler's not getting the deal he thinks he's going to get. And so, Eckler's 28 years old. And let me put it this way. Is there a similar to Derrick Henry? Is there a percentage chance that Eckler could deliver on his 28-year-old season? Absolutely. And I said this with Derrick Henry. Like, there's a 20, and I threw out an arbitrary number. It's just me, guesstimating based on the 20 years of doing this, that there was about a 25-30% chance that Henry could deliver a almost healthy, talking like 15-16 game, fully healthy season at his age, mileage, the foot, the plate that was in his foot, all that stuff that he went through, and he did it. But the percentage chance was not like astronomically bad. It was just not great odds for a first-round pick for a top 5 overall player. So same thing with Eckler. Eckler's entering his 28-year-old season, and he's probably got a 20-30% chance, like Henry, of delivering a fully healthy, one more full-go elite season. And that's, doable numbers. It's not a crazy percentage. He can certainly defy those odds. Those odds are not astronomical. But do you really want your first rounder or your top 15 overall player to have and that's my guesstimation of a percentage, a pretty tough road to a full season at his workload, his stature, his mileage, all that. Do I want Eckler handcuffed? Spiller, everyone seems to keep talking about Spiller, who was one of the worst running back prospects to come out of college that was highly ranked for some reason. I think, maybe he improves. Certainly players have come into the NFL and improved. So there's certainly an opportunity for that. I'm not writing him off entirely, but he is the backup, Isaiah Spiller. Very slow metrics. Bottom of the entire combine in almost every category. He's literally just always down at the bottom, like 5 or 6. He's not quick. He's not agile. He's slow. And maybe he got quicker. Maybe working with NFL trainers, being on an NFL team, maybe he's absorbing a lot and he's becoming somebody that can be relied upon. We'll have to see. The offense is certainly good enough to make a decent player look good, or a mediocre player look decent, or a good player look great. So depending on where he falls in terms of that, he could certainly be like one-upped, be supersized quite a bit just by being in that offense. So there's also that to consider. Even if he's just remotely okay, he could become decently good in this offense. So cuffing Eckler, certainly I would say a must, but I don't know that it's going to win you a league. It just feels safe. It's smart. Cost effective. To use your last round pick on Spiller, I guess, and cuff him, but I'm not excited about Spiller. And Tristan, appreciate your super chat. Tristan, you're on the phone right now, right? You said, thanks a ton, Smitty. Been enjoying your rankings. Appreciate you, man. A lot of updates coming to the fantasyfootballshow.com, by the way. I need to comb through the rankings and do a whole update, and we're going to be doing a whole lot on in terms of content creation.
I've been seeing the new stuff you've been putting on there. It's looking good, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more plentiful, believe me. So appreciate you. Let's go back to I think Pete Carroll hung up. Final thoughts, Scuba Steve.
Yeah, with the Dalvin Cook stuff, they were saying that this guy was going to get released, and it doesn't seem like anything's happening with that, or with the DeAndre Hopkins trade stuff. Is it? Do you think that all that stuff is still going to carry into the first week of the season, or do you think that maybe by training, I guess by when these guys actually show up for during the preseason games and all that other type of stuff, you think that those storylines will be resolved? Or
well, Dalvin Cook's
Dalvin
Cook's getting cut. That's already been determined. So Dalvin Cook will be released. He's just, the reason he hasn't been released yet is because he's a June 1 cut. They got to wait till June 1 so they can spread out his dead cap hit over 2 years. So he's already been he's already gotten. They took him off the banner, bro. They took him off the Twitter banner where they put Madison in his place. So he's gone.
So how far up is Madison going to be shooting up draft boards now?
It's weird.
He's going to be the main guy. Is he going to go high up?
I'm going to do a video on Madison. It's weird because Madison's not getting any love right now, and I'll even admit I should be giving him way more love on the rankings and in videos and sleep. He is arguably as good as the Swift, potential. He's arguably as good as Pacheco's potential. Like, we should be taking Madison with a smile in round 6, I think. And you can cuff him to McBride just to be safe. Hang tight 1 second. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who's this? What's up, Maurice? Appreciate you calling in. Hang tight for me, Maurice, and I'll get right back to you. Let me just finish answering Scuba Steve's question. Scuba, so to answer your question, Madison's going to climb up boards. It's going to happen, and we really should be paying it more attention to it. I'll be honest. I feel like that's on me. I feel like I've dropped the ball a little bit on talking about Madison, and that's got to change right now because he's always had top 5 to 10 running back upside. He really has. And cuffing McBride and or Ty Chandler to him is pretty easy. It's pretty cost effective. So why aren't we talking about Madison more? Madison costs you sometimes a 6th or 7th round pick, and you can get McBride at the end of the draft. You could get Ty Chandler at the end of the draft. This is a good... When I do my 0 RB video, either tonight or tomorrow, and I do my hero running back video tonight or tomorrow, because a lot of people are asking me the difference between that lately, so I want to definitely define them. I'm going to be talking about Madison and McBride and Ty Chandler. I'm going to be talking about Pacheco, McKinnon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm going to be talking about Swift and Gainwell and Penny, because these are all after round 6 running backs. You have to acquire none of them before round 6, some of them in round 7, and you can consume one running back starting lineup slot for you that way. And it's a pretty solid one, especially the KC one. Like, the KC running back's going to be amazing. McKinnon was last year. They brought him back. Pacheco McKinnon's phenomenal. It's a great running back to grab. It's crazy. No one. I don't see anybody talking about the McKinnon, Pacheco, and even Clyde, if you want, combo as a really safe running back too. I don't see anybody talking about McBride and Madison combo as a really safe running back too, and the Swift with Gainwell and Penny, which again, it's a lot to have 3 running backs from one room, but when you're doing 0 running back or hero RB, you're compiling your running back crew in an unorthodox fashion anyway. So why is anybody going to complain about you consuming 3 players from one team when it locks into place one running back for you? Like, you no longer have to worry about one of your RBs if you go 0 RB, if you own all the KC running backs. You are literally good to go. You are good to go. You have a top potential 10 running back, and you went 0 RB. So... Scuba, final thoughts. Then I'm gonna bounce everybody one by one, and then I'm gonna go to Maurice.
Oh, you can go to Maurice. I think you just asked you just asked me at the.
Okay.
I'll let you go to. Maurice.
All right. Hey, Scuba. Well, I'm gonna end the phone line here. So, Scuba, call back tomorrow. Right. Maurice might have just hung up. Yeah. Maurice might have just.
I'm here.
Oh no, Maurice is there.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, Scuba, call in later tonight, pal. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man. See you.
Matt Biaggia, hang tight on hold there. Tristan, final thoughts.
Thanks for looking at my roster, Smitty. I'm going to go try to get Eli or one of these other QBs. I'll see you tonight, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. I'm probably going to go live tonight. Normally, I don't go live on, what is today, Wednesday? Yeah. Normally, I don't go live on Wednesday late nights, but I think we'll probably do something.
You're right.
No, but normally I don't, but I'm going to tonight, so you're actually correct.
Oh, okay. Looking forward to it then. Appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, probably do a Dynasty video as well on the Dynasty channel, so get ready.
Good deal. All right.
Get ready for a double header tonight. All right. Later, Tristan.
Looking forward to it. All right, Smitty.
Maurice, what can I do for you?
Hey, man, I'm not going to hold you real that long. Just want to say you're the man, reiterate what everybody else said. But I don't know if you remember me talking to you last year about drafting out in Vegas the first week of the football season. Are you able to do that this year? Like, are you coming out to Vegas, do one of your shows or anything like that?
I'm going to be in Vegas on July 15. That's the announcement's coming, but I'd love to do a meet and greet with anybody that can make it. It'll basically be a draft-related situation, so I'm pretty sure there will be opportunities for people to jump into drafts and leagues. I'm not 100% sure on that, but hang tight. I got an announcement coming. But yeah, I won't be in there. I won't be out there in August, but I'll be there July 15th.
Not in September? Okay.
Yeah, not in September.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to be able to come out there do any of those drafts or do one of your shows. That's all it was. But again, keep doing what you're doing, man. Really love the show. And, you know, it's not a lot of guys that are actually, you know, like non-biased. You know what I'm saying? Some guys will get on and talk crazy, but appreciate what you do, man.
Hey, man, appreciate you. You won't always agree with me, but, you know, I'll bring my opinion and my, you know, my stance. And, you know, look, we're all going to have different opinions. It's totally fine. And that's what makes this thing work. If we all had the same opinions, even all of us here, why would we play? You know, so that's what makes it fun. So, you know, I try and keep that, you know, as an open minded thing as well for me. Is like, you know, sometimes I'm hardcore on a stance, and, you know, I get excited, but you know, I do respect other people's takes, and I think, you know, especially, you know, some of these anti-Swift takes, like, I respect them. I understand them. The anti-Lamar takes, I get those too, and I've actually shared that anti-Lamar take all offseason, but with the caveat that if they bring in Flowers, especially Flowers, that things could change for me, and they did. But I'm not like, I didn't turn Lamar into my QB 3 or 4. Like, he stayed in the same ranking. He just climbed a lot, like, and closed the gap is all. So yeah, I mean, we're all gonna have different takes, and that's what makes this thing work. So appreciate you, Maurice.
No doubt.
Call in anytime, pal. I got you. Yeah, I got you in the system. Call in more. I got you when I see a call. I'll answer more often now. So I got you in here.
Okay. All
right, later.
I'll make sure too.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Matt Biaggia, you're live.
Hey, just you talking about, you know, Madison and Cook being released. I need help with you letting me know about these veteran running backs that aren't signed. You know, you guys say Chris Brown for the Bengals. What if they bring in someone like Zeke or someone? I don't know where to draft Cook, Fournette, Zeke. Even Darrell Henderson was in with the Browns today. I don't know if that would mean anything if you're taking Jerome Ford late. I just want to, you know, figure out what we're supposed to do. Or is it just a wait and see and you're not drafting them until they land? Or what do you think?
I mean, Fournette and Zeke could potentially, and Hunt, I think Hunt too, although we're hearing that Hunt's lost a step, and many people that are league office people have said that, like multiple. You know, Fournette could rain on someone's parade. Zeke Elliott could.
What if Minnesota cuts Cook and signs Fournette cheaper? Then what do you do? Is that more like a 50-50 split?
I don't know. We'll have to play. I mean, we just don't know. I wish I could predict that, but the answer.
So are you just staying away from drafting these guys until you know?
Those guys, I'm not interested in Fournette right now at all.
For the last pick in the draft, you don't take Zeke or somebody.
Sure, I'd take Fournette. I'd take Zeke in the last pick in a draft if I need a running back. I mean, those are fine, but like that's not. I'm not running from that. That's an okay draft selection. But sure. I think you know, I can't react to something that hasn't happened yet for the guys to you know, the location he's going to. So if, let's say, Fournette goes to Dallas.
But they are going to sign, and they're going to damper, you know, wherever those running backs go to.
Maybe. So we can't see where that's going to, unless we start seeing news about it. But, like, let's say Fournette goes to Dallas. That could definitely hamper Tony Pollard a little bit. But we'll have to play it by ear. We unfortunately don't have a real good feeling that the Cowboys are interested in one of those RBs. They could have brought Zeke back. There was talk about bringing Zeke back again, but that ship has sailed, and they're not going to do that according to the reports. You never know. That could change again, though. But they like Deuce Vaughn a lot, and I don't think they want to put somebody in between Deuce Vaughn and Pollard. I think they really do want to run Pollard out there, or Deuce Vaughn out there. Not to replace Pollard, but just to get both of them on the field, and that will be good for Pollard because Pollard can't handle 240, 250 carries. You want him at like 215, 220.
I mean, how much can Deuce Vaughn handle? I mean, they have to bring in another back.
Well, no, I mean, they believe he can. They believe he can. I don't think they believe he's the third running back. They drafted him for a reason, you know.
That's fine, but they have to sign someone too, you would think.
Well, they also got Davis, bro. You know, I mean, they've got 3 RBs. They don't need to bring in anybody, essentially.
Okay. Who's the third one? Who'd you say?
Malik Davis.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. So Tony Pollard is, obviously number one in the depth chart. Malik Davis is currently number 2, but Deuce Vaughn will catch up to him. And, Deuce Vaughn's exciting, man. I'm telling you, there's a vibe about him. And this doesn't mean you have to dislike or run away from Tony Pollard. It's just, he'll be exciting. He'll just be an exciting playmaker that may be not fantasy relevant even all year, but have fantasy relevant moments where you're like, damn, I wish
I've taken
best
a
ball.
stab at him. He's like my 5th or 6th running back or whatever.
Best ball, he's great because you don't ever have to decide when to play him. He'll just, one of these days, he's going to have an 80-yard touchdown run. Deuce Vaughn, like, he gets a little seam. You can't even see him behind the line of scrimmage, man. He's like he's like 5'5". He's 5'5". You can't see him. He gets a little crease. He'll just run between people's legs and just go 80 yards to the end zone, bro. He might fall into a gopher hole on his way. You never know. He might fall into a gopher hole, find a pathway, and come out at the end zone. It's not illegal. As long as his knees don't touch the ground, that's a valid play. Who said he can't go underneath the field? Nobody. All right. Anything else, Matt?
And then I saw your Ridley video, and if I take Ridley, he's usually he'll be like my 3rd wide receiver. I know you're not a fan of Devontae, but I had Devontae, CeeDee Lamb, and then I threw in Ridley. I felt like that was a good spot to take him. And it's not like I'm banking on him as my number 1 receiver.
Yeah. Hunt was slow, had no shiftiness. Hunt looks like he could be falling apart.
Last thing. Ron Navy, where is he? Is he just left, or is he pouting because of Swift, or?
I don't know. I don't know. He might be working or doing something. I'm not sure. I'll
Gotcha.
Appreciate you calling in.
All right,
Matt. Later, pal. All right. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Last thing.
Who's this?
Ron Navy. Where is
Hello?
he? Is he just
Hello?
Because of Swift?
Hello? Some people just aren't prepared. Some people just aren't prepared to call in. Smitty getting too realistic here. What am I getting realistic about? I'm literally 5'5" and tripped in a gopher hole. Played football a couple months ago and high ankle sprain though. Appreciate you, Wizard. Dallas also has another running back, special teams guy, Rico. Yeah. I don't know that they need to bring anybody in. They could bring somebody in, doesn't mean that they will. Fournette, Zeke Elliott, they definitely could rain on somebody's parade. They definitely could. Deuce Vaughn was a stud at K-State. Deuce Vaughn has got a lot of excitement, and he's a great cuff to Tony Pollard. If you draft Tony Pollard, you can get Deuce Vaughn pretty cheaply. I am out of here. You can get your Bijan running back 1 merch over at the merch store. You can see I'm wearing this number right here, this beauty right here. I'm wearing this color of the t-shirt. So I'm wearing the opposite variation of this, but it's Bijan running back 1. And then on the back, it's got the Moon Men. Look at the Moon Men here. Look at this shirt right here. Look at this beauty. Walker, Hall, Pollard, Olave, Charbonnet, Bijan, Pitts, Gibbs, Watson, London, Fields, Chase, Burrow. It's got all these Moon Men and Mars Men. Essentially, most of the Moon Men and Mars Men. It's not the exact Moon Men list, but it's a majority of the Moon Men with the 2 Mars Men. So it's a phenomenal shirt. It's so comfortable, this specific one. We got the backpacks. We got all the merch. Go to thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch. You can also, if you look at this right here, you can also see that if you want to join the YouTube exclusive membership, all you got to do is click that join button or click on memberships. But right next to it, you'll see that store tab. You can get all the merch at the store tab. Same thing on mobile. If you want to get the YouTube exclusive memberships, you just click on the membership tab on mobile. Right next to it is the store. So memberships and stores in the navigation on the main YouTube channel. So make sure you dig into all that if you want to become YouTube exclusive members. If you want to cop the merch and wear it around town, wear a uniform just like your boy Smitty. We've got Adam, very blessed indeed, on the line. Adam, what do you got?
Hey, look at that. You finally got my name right. Hey,
What's up?
Smitty, how you doing? So I heard you guys talking about Malik Davis, and I think people need to put a little more respect on his name. He's actually pretty damn good. And
Yeah,
I think
I like him.
if something happens to Pollard, that's the dude you want, not.
Well,
that's just a gut feeling.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. Definitely, there's an argument to be made, but
He's a little bit bigger back.
I think
he's got a little bit. I think he's got really good vision. I remember watching him play a little bit in Florida. So he comes from the SEC school, and running backs tend to be pretty good out of those schools. They've been through some battles before they get to the NFL, and he's someone who's fought his way to the NFL. He's got a pretty decent story. He's kind of somebody that could come out of nowhere that people might not expect. If anything happens to Pollard, I think he could be the dude that you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I think people are going to discredit Deuce Vaughn because of his size, and I think the important note, though, needs to be that people need to realize is that this kid's not going to step in and be a workhorse back for 5-6 years at the NFL level. No one's expecting that, but there are sometimes situations in fantasy where there's short-term little bursts of fantasy production, and you can kind of sniff them. You can sniff them out. Like Deuce Vaughn is never going to be a 3, 4 year, 5 year guy, but in 1 or 2 of the next couple years, could he have a 4 or 5 game stretch, especially in best ball where you don't have to worry about it? He gets started for you if he ends up having that type of game. But is there a 4 or 5 game stretch in the next year or two where this guy's just like electric, and he just rips off like these long runs, but doesn't, he gets figured out or whatever. Like I'm not pretending that he's going to be some big time guy for years and years. He could be, but my expectation level is that if you cuff him to Pollard this year, you're going to be okay. I've been
taking on 3 of them.
Yeah, and I don't mind that
if I can, and you can really easily do it. Vaughn, sometimes you might not get. But you can get Malik Davis with your last pick every draft.
Yes.
I don't see anyone taking
it. Doesn't qualify. To
me, it's such an easy pick sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't qualify in the same vein as what I've been talking about with Madison and those backups, and Pacheco and those backups, and Swift and those backups, because those are all 6+ round territory. All of them are 6 round and beyond. But Tony Pollard going in round 2. It's like one of those safe things that you could do to really secure your running back 2 or your number 2 overall pick. If you take Tony Pollard at the end of round 2 or the top of round 3, if you grab all 3 backs, you are safeguarding your investment. And you're not going to find very many analysts out there at all. Like, I think probably 0. I think I'm probably the only one that you're going to find that's going to support you in drafting 3 running backs from 1 running back room. It's just, there's something about that rubs these Excel pushing analysts to up a wall. There's like, you can't take 3. The inefficiency of 3 running backs in 1 running back room. It's not ideal. But sometimes you got to safeguard your investment, especially if you see a guy like Pollard who's got top 5 running back upside, but a whole lot of risk, or a guy like Swift who's got a whole lot of risk, but top 10 running back upside, or a guy like Madison who's got top 10 running back upside, but a bunch of risk. Sometimes to safeguard your risky investment that you see as risky but worth it, you have to secure the entire backfield. And while these, analyzing Excel Erics out there creating content are going to tell you it's a mistake, I'm going to tell you that I support you. If you need to draft all 3 RBs from 1 running back room to secure your shaky running back strategy, it is a great move when you're talking about these situations that we've mapped out. And the Dallas Cowboys being one of them. And if you don't like it, no problem. No problem. Go ahead, Adam. What else you got?
No, that's the only thing I really wanted to talk about. I am interested to see how the Ravens do this year, with the fact that they're going to do more passing and stuff. Like, Lamar is going to have a chance to prove that, like he's been saying, he's not just a running back who plays quarterback. He wants to prove that he can throw the ball, and I think he's going to prove some people wrong this year.
Yeah. Hey, hang tight 1 second. Oh, hold on. Oh no, never mind. They hung up. I was going to try and add somebody else in. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. So I think that he could be, if he stays healthy, you got to think he's going to be back in the MVP running with, Mahomes and
Lamar. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Allen and all them kinds.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like I feel like he's destined to come back and have a big year, especially if he stays healthy. Like, I think he definitely wants to prove that he earned his contract. He deserved it.
Yeah, he definitely could be.
He's definitely got that chip in his shoulder kind of player.
Yeah, he definitely could be. I think there's definitely upside. Hold on 1 second. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who are we talking to?
Hi.
Okay. Let's see here. Very blessed. Call back in. I accidentally dropped you there. What else you guys got? Hit me with the questions. You don't draft a running back 8 overall to not have the guy immediately. Blake, what are you talking about here? Very blessed. Call back in. I accidentally dropped you there. Algier doesn't sniff Bijan in terms of ability or ceiling. Yeah, I would say he's not even in the same stratosphere. So I don't even know if somebody's saying something about Algier having like similar talent level. He doesn't. I think it'll be a little like Brees and Michael Carter last season. I was able to get Zeke for Brees in a trade. That's phenomenal. Isaac, that's absolutely crazy. Why is everybody forgetting about Cordero Patterson? Because they drafted a guy named Bijan Robinson, and Bijan Robinson's going to lead the NFL in rushing yards probably. It's going to be a crazy season. Crazy season. Sorry, Adam.
Hey, that's all right. Were you hearing what I was hearing?
Yeah, I had to bump that caller,
okay.
But what else you got, pal?
Yeah, that was like weird.
What else you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and bounce off.
Okay.
I was just making sure I wasn't tripping.
Yeah. All right, Adam. Appreciate you, man. Later.
Have a good one.
Later. Smitty, I haven't seen you draft Rachaad White. What are your thoughts on him? It's good observation. I haven't really felt like I like Rachaad White. I like him a lot. You guys know I love him. Loved him last year. He's phenomenal. But I guess I just haven't felt like he's fallen to the right territory for me. But if he was to fall another round, I could all of a sudden just get behind him, and say like this is a fantastic pick. Really starting to like. Why are these other analysts copying your content lately, Smitty? I don't know. I'm hearing about it a lot. A lot of people say that people are definitely copying a lot of what we're doing here. I'm not sure. Probably because it's fire. Probably because it's approved.
You've just been Smitty.
Probably because they've been.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
They've been disapproved, but probably because we have the best show on the planet. That's probably why. Any late round picks you recommend after the 20 in Dynasty? Bro, Wilson, the rookie wide receiver for the Cardinals. I'd say I don't think Deuce Vaughn's falling that far, but he does fall to about round 18, but like Deuce Vaughn, Wilson, Tank Dell's like round 15, 16, 17, 18, so that's close, but you never know. I'm not sold on him. I'm teetering. I'm the same way, only not because I don't love him, because I don't know that I love Tampa. That's the reason why I'm a little hesitant on Rachaad White right now. All right, guys, I'll see you all tonight. I'm going live tonight. I don't know what we're doing tonight. I don't know if we're drafting or not, but I'm going to do some sort of live or premiere or some video and then do a Dynasty live stream as well. So get on over to the Dynasty channel right here. Dynasty channel is right here. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Click it. Get on board the Dynasty train. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all tonight. Peace out.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting either Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts with one of Hall, Gibbs or Bijan, and one of Olave, Watson, Wilson, or Chase. The Four Horsemen, drafting Chase in round 1, Hall in 2, Burrow in 3, London in 4, try Gibbs in 3, Burrow in 4, Wilson in 2, no problem. Combinations of these monsters will give your league mates nightmares, especially Bijan 1, Olave 2, Burrow 3, and Gibbs 4. Don't lie. You just made an oopsie in your pants, didn't you? Ride for horses at the same time, the Four Horsemen.
See you all tonight. And don't forget, I'm live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. I'm live whenever news breaks. I'm live every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Live draft marathon every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, Smitty, when do we draft? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, Smitty, you going live to draft? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, Smitty, are we doing a draft tonight? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Anything else is gravy, but these are the draft nights, back to back to back, marathon every single week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Daily uploads, Tuesday night, Panic Chamber. See you all tonight. Deuces. Pal Derby. Pal Derby. I'm sending you to the moon, pal.
To the moon.
Pal Derby, I'm Smitty approving you, pal.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Appreciate you, Pal Derby. I also appreciate all of you super chatters that super chatted tonight. Always appreciated, never expected. We had Z Dude who super chatted and then left, I think. I've been trying to find him. Vampy dropping a super. Thomas dropping a super. Pal Derby dropping a 20 gifted membership. Christian Silva, Tristan dropping a super. Appreciate all those supers helping keep the lights on. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you later, Blake. I'll see you later, Jeremy. Jeremy in the building. Appreciate you, Jeremy. JCIM, appreciate you. Christian Silva, never get tired of the elk. The elk is fantastic. You're the man. Pal Derby says Sick Nasty. Sick Nasty is not wrong. Appreciate everybody here. Roshan and Rachaad White. Roshan's a great player. OEG, appreciate you. Pal Derby. Travis Rowe, thank you for moderating per usual. You are the man. You can see Foreman on the Cowboys, unfortunately. That would be interesting, but isn't Foreman... Foreman is on the Chicago Bears, though, bro. So Foreman's not a free agent. He's a Chicago Bear. I don't know if what we're talking about there, but just clarifying. Jero, appreciate you. Silver, D Philly. Thanks again, Travis Rowe, for all you do. Thomas, appreciate you. Ethan, later, pal. Cooper, see you later. Mike, see you later, my guy. Sick Nasty. Isaac K, appreciate you, my dude. See you tonight. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.